The room drips with wealth, chandeliers gleam, champagne flows, and smug laughter cuts like a blade. She stands there, invisible, as her sister's voice sneers, she's just a nobody, wasting her life in some office job. The crowd roars, mocking her, tearing her apart in front of everyone. Her hands tremble, rage and shame burning inside, but she stays silent, swallowing the pain of years of betrayal. This isn't just a party, it's a public execution of her worth. And then, a sharp salute slices through the noise. And tonight, their lies will burn. The ocean crashes against the cliffs of Malibu, but inside Natalie Brooks' sprawling mansion, the air is suffocating, thick with perfume and pretense. I drive up the winding Pacific Coast Highway in a rented sedan, the 5-mile journey from my modest hotel feeling like a march to judgment. In my hands, I clutch a small wooden box, a keepsake from my unit at 29 Palms, gritty, honest, nothing like the polished excess I'm about to face. The mansion looms ahead, its glass walls gleaming under the California sun, a 10,000 square foot monument to Natalie's ego. Every window screams wealth, every palm tree perfectly trimmed to impress. I step out, my boots scuffing the marble driveway, and adjust my plain navy sweater. The door swings open, and there she is, Natalie, my sister, 40 years old, draped in a silk gown that costs more than my monthly rent. Her smile is sharp, a blade disguised as warmth. "Ava, you made it," she says, her voice dripping with mock surprise. "Still dressing like you're headed to a dive bar? This is Malibu, not some desert outpost." Her eyes flick to the box in my hands, and she laughs, a sound that stings like salt in a wound. "What's that? Another army trinket? Don't embarrass us tonight." I force a tight smile, my heart pounding, but I won't let her see me flinch. Inside, the foyer sparkles, marble floors, a chandelier the size of a small car, and walls lined with art that screams money. Guests in tailored suits and sequin dresses swirl around, their laughter echoing like a taunt. I catch a glimpse of my father, Richard Reynolds, 68, sipping bourbon by the bar. He doesn't look my way. My stepmother, Eleanor, 62, glides past, her diamond earrings catching the light. "Ava," she says, barely glancing at me, "try not to spill anything on Natalie's rugs. They're imported." The words land like a slap, but I've heard worse. I'm 35, a major in the U.S. Marine Corps, callsign Silent Vanguard, trained to outsmart enemies in the chaos of war. Yet here, in this glittering cage, I'm nothing, just the sister who never measured up. I think of Lucas, Natalie's son, a pilot who might understand my world, but he's not here yet. The memory of my mother, Grace, flashes through me, her gentle hands, her pilot's wings, gone when I was 8. Natalie made sure I felt that loss every day. 27 years ago, in our old Pasadena home, I was 9, clutching a letter from Grace, my only keepsake. Eleanor tore it from my hands, her voice ice cold. "Stop living in the past, Ava. Your mother's gone, and you're not her." Natalie, then 14, smirked from the doorway. "You're just a burden, Ava." No wonder she left. The memory burns, raw and jagged, as I stand in this mansion, surrounded by people who've spent decades erasing me. Natalie's voice cuts through the crowd, calling everyone to dinner. "Let's celebrate success," she says, her eyes locking onto mine with cruel intent. I brace myself. This night is about to get uglier. The dining room of Natalie Brooks' Malibu mansion is a cathedral of excess, its 20-foot ceilings draped with crystal chandeliers that cast prisms across a mahogany table set for 30. The scent of truffle risotto and aged Cabernet fills the air, mingling with the chatter of Hollywood producers, tech moguls, and socialites in $1,000 dresses. I sit at the far end, my navy sweater a stark contrast to the sea of silk and cashmere, the wooden box from 29 Palms tucked beneath my chair like a secret I'm afraid to claim. My heart hammers, each beat a reminder of the decades spent shrinking under this family's gaze. Natalie, 40, stands at the head of the table, her platinum blonde hair gleaming, her voice a velvet whip as she raises a champagne flute. "To success," she declares, her eyes slicing toward me, "and to those who'll never know it." The guests laugh, a polished, cruel sound that echoes off the marble walls. I grip my fork, the cold metal grounding me as Natalie's gaze locks onto mine. "Let's not forget my little sister," she says, her smile venomous. "Ava, still playing soldier in some dusty office, right? Tell me, do you ever do anything besides file paperwork?" The room erupts, laughter crashing over me like a wave. My cheeks burn, but I keep my face still, trained by years of swallowing their scorn. Uncle Victor, 55, a real estate tycoon with a Rolex glinting on his wrist, leans forward. "Come on, Ava, you're not out there dodging bullets, are you? What's it like, being the Army's secretary?" His grin is a challenge, daring me to crack. I open my mouth, but Natalie cuts me off, her voice rising with theatrical glee. "Oh, let me tell you about Ava," she says, turning to the crowd. "When we were kids, she tried out for the school play, thought she could be a star like me. But she froze on stage, stammering like a fool. The drama teacher told her to stick to the audience. Isn't that right, Ava?" The guests howl, some clapping as if it's a performance. My vision blurs, the memory of that audition, 17 years old, my voice choking under the spotlight, Natalie laughing from the back row, slamming into me like a fist. I was 18 when I vowed never to let her see me break again, but tonight, her words are a blade, twisting deeper. Eleanor, my stepmother, 62, sips her wine and adds, "Really, Ava, you should have followed Natalie's lead. She built an empire by 30. You're 35 and still, what? Chasing your mother's ghost?" The mention of Grace, my real mother, dead since I was 8, is a calculated strike. I feel my chest tighten, the air thinning as if the room's oxygen has been sucked out. My father, Richard, 68, sits across from me, his gray eyes fixed on his plate. He says nothing, just like always, his silence louder than Natalie's taunts. Cousin Lauren, 29, a fashion influencer with 1 million followers, chimes in. "Honestly, Ava, why do you even come to these things? You're like a fish out of water here." The table is a battlefield now, and I'm the target. My fingers tremble, brushing the edge of the wooden box under my chair, a gift from my unit, a reminder of who I am beyond this room. I think of Jenna Cole, my friend at 29 Palms, who once told me, "They don't deserve your scars, Ava." But here, those scars feel raw, exposed. Natalie raises her glass again, her voice dripping with mock pity. "Let's toast to Ava's consistency. Always the runner-up, never the star." The guests clink glasses, their laughter a chorus of daggers. My nails dig into my palms, drawing blood, but I don't flinch. I won't give them the satisfaction. Not yet. I glance at the empty seat where Lucas, Natalie's son, should be. He's 26, a fighter pilot, the only one who might see me for more than their lies. But he's not here, and the weight of that absence presses harder. The chandelier's light feels like a spotlight, exposing every wound I've carried since I was a child in Pasadena, begging for a scrap of love. Natalie's eyes meet mine one last time, her smile a promise of more to come. "Don't worry, Ava," she says softly, "just for me. You'll always have a place, at the kids' table." The room laughs again, and I feel something inside me snap, not in surrender, but in defiance. This isn't over. The desert stretches endlessly around 29 Palms, a 900 square mile crucible of sand and stone where the sun scorches everything it touches. Inside a dimly lit command center, I sit at a steel desk, my eyes locked on a bank of monitors flickering with satellite feeds and encrypted data streams. I'm Ava Reynolds, 35, major in the U.S. Marine Corps, call sign Silent Vanguard. Here, in this concrete bunker 300 miles from the glittering malice of Natalie's Malibu mansion, I'm not the sister who stammers or the daughter who disappoints. I'm the one who sees what others miss, the one who turns chaos into survival. My fingers fly across the keyboard, decoding signals that could mean life or death for a squad 7,000 miles away in a war zone. The weight of those lives presses against my chest, heavier than the shame I left behind at that dinner table. The room hums with the low buzz of electronics, the air thick with the scent of burnt coffee and ozone. A red alert flashes on my screen, insurgent chatter intercepted from a remote outpost. My heart races, but my hands are steady, trained by years of discipline to outrun panic. I cross-reference coordinates, my mind mapping patterns faster than the software. Vanguard, we've got a predator drone circling a hot zone, crackles a voice through my headset. It's Captain Ramirez, 42, his tone taut with urgency. Intel says there's an ambush waiting. Can you confirm? I zoom in on the feed, spotting a glint of metal in the desert scrub, a hidden RPG launcher. Confirmed, I say, my voice calm but ironclad. Redirect the drone, bearing 270 degrees, 2 miles out. Now. The drone shifts course, and minutes later, Ramirez's voice returns, softer. You just saved 12 men, Major. We owe you. This is my world, dark rooms, split-second decisions, and the silent gratitude of those who'll never know my name. Last month, I rerouted a convoy based on a single garbled transmission, preventing a roadside bomb from claiming an entire platoon. The week before, I decrypted a signal that stopped a missile strike on a civilian village. Each success is a thread in the tapestry of my purpose, woven without applause. My unit calls me Silent Vanguard because I guide from the shadows, a beacon no one sees but everyone trusts. I think of Jenna Cole, 33, my closest friend here, who pinned a makeshift badge on my uniform after a 36-hour shift. You're our North Star, Ava, she said, her hazel eyes fierce with pride. Don't let anyone tell you different. But even here, the echoes of Malibu claw at me. The memory of Natalie's sneer, just a nobody, stings like a fresh wound. I touch the wooden box I brought to the dinner, now resting on my desk. Inside is a fragment of my mother's fighter jet, a jagged piece of steel from the crash that took Grace when I was 8. She was a pilot, fearless, her wings a symbol of everything I wanted to be. I joined the Marines at 22, not to chase her ghost, but to honor her fire. Every mission I complete, every life I save, is a defiance of the family who tried to bury me. Yet the pain lingers, a quiet ache beneath my resolve. I remember a night 2 years ago, alone in my bunk, staring at a photo of Grace. I whispered to her, "Did you ever feel invisible?" The silence was my only answer. Yesterday, I got a message from Lucas Brooks, Natalie's son, a 26-year-old fighter pilot stationed 50 miles away. "Ava, I need to talk," he wrote. "It's about Mom. And you." I haven't replied yet, unsure if he's another blade or a lifeline. His absence at the dinner gnaws at me, a reminder of the one person who might see me as more than a punching bag. But trust is a luxury I can't afford, not after decades of betrayal. The monitors blink, pulling me back to the present. Another signal, another life hanging in the balance. I lean forward, my focus absolute, because out here, I'm not defined by their laughter. I'm defined by the lives I hold in my hands. And no one, not Natalie, not Richard, not Eleanor, can take that from me. The dining room's laughter still rings in my ears, a vicious echo that follows me as I slip away from the glittering malice of Natalie Brooks' Malibu mansion. I'm Ava Reynolds, 35, Major in the U.S. Marine Corps, call sign Silent Vanguard, but tonight, I'm just a woman bleeding from wounds no one sees. The 10,000 square foot palace feels like a labyrinth, its marble corridors closing in as I seek refuge in a small guest room on the second floor, a 12 by 10-foot space with a single window overlooking the crashing Pacific. My hands tremble, the wooden box from 29 Palms, holding a fragment of my mother Grace's fighter jet, clutched tightly, my only anchor after Natalie's public execution of my worth. I set it on the narrow bed, its worn surface a stark contrast to the room's silk drapes and gold-trimmed mirror. I need air, space, anything to dull the sting of their words. The room is suffocating, its lavender-scented air mocking my raw nerves. I pace, my boots scuffing the hardwood floor, and notice a small antique dresser in the corner, its mahogany finish scuffed with age. Something draws me to it, a pull I can't explain, like a signal buried in static. I open the top drawer, expecting nothing but spare linens, and freeze. There, beneath a faded velvet cloth, lies a locked metal box, no bigger than a paperback, its surface etched with a faint monogram, Gr. Grace Reynolds. My heart stops. My mother, gone since I was 8, her memory weaponized by Natalie and Eleanor to keep me small. My fingers shake as I pry it open with a paperclip from the desk, the lock giving way with a soft click. Inside are 2 letters, yellowed by time, their edges brittle. The first is in Grace's handwriting, each loop and curve a piece of her I thought I'd lost. Ava, my star, it begins, you are my heart's fire. Never let the world dim your light. I love you forever, Mom. Tears burn my eyes, a flood of warmth and grief crashing through me. She loved me. She saw me. But then I unfold the second letter, and the world collapses. The handwriting mimics Grace's, but it's sharper, colder. Ava, you were a mistake, it reads. I never wanted you. Stay away from me. My knees buckle, and I sink to the floor, the paper crumpling in my fist. I know this letter, it haunted me at 12, left on my pillow in our Pasadena home, convincing me my mother despised me. I spent years hating myself, believing I was unlovable. But now, I see the truth. The second letter is a forgery, the ink too dark, the paper too new. Natalie's doing. My sister, 40, didn't just hide Grace's love, she crafted a lie to break me. I remember that day in Pasadena, 23 years ago, when I found the fake letter. I was 12, curled up on my bed, sobbing as Natalie, then 17, leaned against the doorframe. Told you Mom didn't care, she said, her voice sweet as poison. You're nothing, Ava. I believed her, carried that lie like a stone in my chest, letting it shape every doubt, every sleepless night. Now, holding Grace's real letter, I feel rage ignite, hotter than the desert sun at 29 Palms. Natalie didn't just mock me, she stole my mother's love, my sense of worth, for decades. I clutch both letters, my breath ragged, and stand, the room spinning. The ocean roars outside, its fury matching mine. I think of Jenna Cole, my friend at the base, who once said, "You're stronger than their lies, Ava." But this betrayal cuts deeper than anything I've faced, deeper than Natalie's taunts at dinner, deeper than Richard's silence or Eleanor's disdain. I want to scream, to shatter the mansion's perfect facade, but I hold back, my Marine training forcing clarity through the storm. Lucas Brooks, Natalie's 26-year-old son, sent me that message yesterday, hinting at something about his mother. Could he know? The thought flickers, fragile but fierce, as I tuck the letters into my pocket. I'm not broken yet. Natalie wanted to bury me, but she's about to learn, I'm the fire she can't extinguish. The weight of Grace's letters, her true love and Natalie's cruel forgery, burns in my pocket as I return to the dining room of Natalie Brooks' Malibu mansion. I'm Ava Reynolds, 35, Major in the U.S. Marine Corps, call sign Silent Vanguard, but the 10,000 square foot palace feels like a guillotine, its opulence sharpening the edge of my family's contempt. The 20-foot chandelier glitters above the mahogany table, casting fractured light across the faces of Hollywood elites and tech tycoons, their champagne flutes clinking in a symphony of privilege. Natalie, 40, presides at the table's head, her silk gown shimmering, her smile a polished weapon still dripping with the venom of her earlier taunts. My navy sweater feels like armor, too thin against the memory of her words, a nobody, wasting her life. My hands, still raw from clutching the letters, steady themselves on the wooden box from 29 Palms, now back under my chair, a silent testament to the lives I've saved. The air is thick with the scent of roasted lamb and entitlement, the guests' laughter a dull roar that muffles my heartbeat. I sit, my spine rigid, every nerve alight with the betrayal I've just uncovered, Natalie's forged letter that convinced me, at 12, that my mother Grace despised me. Richard, my father, 68, sips his bourbon, his gray eyes avoiding mine, as always. Eleanor, my stepmother, 62, adjusts her diamond necklace, her lips curled in faint disdain. Uncle Victor, 55, drones on about his latest real estate deal, while cousin Lauren, 29, scrolls her phone, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. I'm bracing for another jab from Natalie when a sharp, insistent chime cuts through the noise, the doorbell, echoing like a gunshot in the 50-foot foyer. Natalie's brow furrows, her voice snapping. Who interrupts my gala uninvited? The guests murmur, their curiosity piqued, as Richard half rises, but a servant hurries to the door. My pulse quickens, an instinct honed in 29 Palms sensing a shift. Then, boots echo on the marble floor, deliberate and commanding, and Lucas Brooks, 26, steps into the room. Natalie's son, a fighter pilot, stands tall in his dress blues, his captain's bars gleaming, his cap tucked under his arm. The room falls silent, forks clattering against plates, as his piercing blue eyes find me. In a motion crisp as a blade, he salutes, his voice ringing out, Major Ava Reynolds, United States Marine Corps, Silent Vanguard. You saved my squadron from a suicide bomber in Syria. I'm alive because of you. The air vanishes, the chandelier's light freezing every face in shock. Natalie's champagne flute slips, shattering on the floor, her face ashen. Eleanor gasps, her hand clutching her pearls. Richard's bourbon glass trembles, his jaw slack. Lucas steps forward, his gaze never leaving me, and continues, 3 months ago, insurgents targeted my jet with a surface-to-air missile. Major Reynolds' intel redirected us 10 seconds before impact. She saved 16 pilots, including me. He turns to Natalie, his voice dropping, sharp with betrayal. Mom, you called her a failure? She's the hero who brought me home. Why did you lie about her? The guests are statues, their earlier laughter now a shameful memory. Uncle Victor's Rolex ticks audibly in the silence, Lauren's phone forgotten in her lap. I rise, my legs steady despite the earthquake in my chest, and return Lucas' salute, my voice clear. Thank you, Captain Brooks. It's my duty to bring you home. My eyes lock on Natalie, her empire crumbling in her trembling hands. She tries to speak, but words fail her, her mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping on shore. Richard looks at me for the first time in years, his eyes wide, as if seeing a stranger. Eleanor's face twists, her composure shattered. Lucas' words are a fire, burning away decades of lies, Natalie's taunts, the forged letter, the years I was told I was nothing. I think of Jenna Cole, my friend at the base, who'd say, "You're their reckoning, Ava." This moment, this salute, is more than recognition, it's a blade cutting through the chains of my past. The letters in my pocket feel lighter, Grace's love louder than Natalie's cruelty. The room watches, breathless, as Lucas stands firm, his defiance a mirror of my own. Natalie's gala, her perfect world, lies in ruins at her feet, and for the first time, I feel the ground shift beneath me, not in surrender, but in triumph. The silence in Natalie Brooks' Malibu mansion is deafening, the shattered remnants of her champagne flute still glinting on the marble floor like the wreckage of her carefully curated lies. I'm Ava Reynolds, 35, Major in the U.S. Marine Corps, callsign Silent Vanguard, standing tall in the wake of Lucas Brooks' salute, a moment that turned my family's scorn into ash. The 20-foot chandelier above the dining room dims, its light no longer mocking me but illuminating the stunned faces of the guests, Hollywood moguls, tech barons, and socialites who laughed at Natalie's cruel jests just hours ago. Lucas, 26, Natalie's son and a fighter pilot, stands beside me, his dress blues a beacon of truth in this den of deception. His words, "She saved my life," echo in my mind, a lifeline I never expected from the son of my tormentor. I step out onto the mansion's oceanfront terrace, the 50-foot expanse of glass doors opening to the Pacific's restless waves, their roar a mirror to the storm within me. Lucas follows, his boots soft on the teak deck, the cool night air carrying the salt of the sea 100 feet below. The letters from my mother, Grace, one true, one forged by Natalie, press against my thigh in my pocket, their weight both a comfort and a wound. I grip the wooden box from 29 Palms, its rough surface grounding me as I stare at the horizon, the moon casting a silver path across the water. Lucas leans against the railing, his voice low. I'm sorry, Ava. I didn't know how bad it was, Mom's lies, the way they treated you. I should have spoken up sooner. His apology catches me off guard, a crack in my armor. I turn to him, his blue eyes reflecting the moonlight, earnest and raw. You spoke when it mattered, Lucas, I say, my voice steady but laced with the ache of decades. That salute, it wasn't just for me. It was for every time they tried to erase me. My mind drifts to Grace, her fighter jet fragment inside the box, a relic of her courage, a courage I've carried through every mission at 29 Palms. But this victory, this moment where Natalie's empire crumbled, doesn't erase the years I spent believing I was unlovable, shaped by her forged letter that branded me a mistake at 12. I close my eyes, the memory of Pasadena flooding back, not the laughter of that humiliating dinner, not the sting of Eleanor's disdain or Richard's silence, but a quieter pain. I was 10, sitting on the porch of our old house, 15 miles from here, clutching a model jet I'd built for a school fair. Natalie, then 15, snatched it and snapped its wings, sneering, "You'll never fly, Ava. You're not Mom." The shards of that jet cut deeper than her words, a wound I buried under years of Marine discipline. Lucas' voice pulls me back. "You're more than they'll ever understand," he says. "Jenna told me about your missions, how you saved my squadron. You're a hero, Ava, whether they see it or not." I nod, but the truth is heavier. This triumph, as sweet as it is, feels like a spotlight on every scar, every night I cried myself to sleep, every mission I pushed through to prove I wasn't nothing. I think of Jenna Cole, 33, my anchor at the base, who'd say, "Your strength is your silence, Ava, not their noise." But silence has a cost, and I've paid it in blood and tears. The ocean churns below, its vastness a reminder of Grace's love, preserved in her true letter, a love Natalie tried to steal. I look at Lucas, his face a mix of pride and guilt, and feel a spark of resolve. This isn't the end of my pain, but it's the beginning of my reclamation. Natalie's lies are exposed, but her reckoning is coming. The ocean's roar fades as I step back into Natalie Brooks' Malibu mansion, the 10,000 square foot fortress now a hollow shell after Lucas' earth-shattering salute. I'm Ava Reynolds, 35, Major in the U.S. Marine Corps, call sign Silent Vanguard, my heart still racing from the truth that burned through Natalie's lies. The dining room, with its 20-foot chandelier, lies quiet, the guests dispersed, their laughter replaced by whispers of shock. I clutch the letters from my mother, Grace, one true, one forged, in my pocket, their weight fueling my steps as I head to the study, a 15 by 12-foot room lined with leather-bound books and Natalie's framed awards. She's there, alone, her silk gown crumpled, her face stripped of its usual arrogance. The air smells of cedar and regret, the dim glow of a single lamp casting long shadows across her trembling hands. I stand in the doorway, my navy sweater a quiet defiance against her world of excess. Natalie, 40, looks up, her eyes red-rimmed, no longer the untouchable CEO but a woman unraveling. "Ava," she whispers, her voice cracking, "why are you here?" I pull the forged letter from my pocket, its cruel words, "You were a mistake, etched into my soul since I was 12. This, I say, tossing it onto the desk, my voice steady but sharp. "You wrote this, Natalie. You made me believe Mom hated me. For 23 years, I carried your lie like a chain. Why?" Her breath hitches, and she looks away, her fingers twisting a diamond ring. "I was jealous," she admits, her voice barely audible. "You were always enough. Without trying. I had to be perfect, but you just were." Her confession cuts, not with relief but with rage. I step closer, my boots firm on the hardwood floor. "You didn't just mock me, Natalie. You stole my mother's love, broke me when I was a kid, and laughed about it tonight. Do you know what that cost me?" My voice trembles, but I don't break. Natalie's eyes well up, tears smudging her mascara. "I'm sorry, Ava," she says, her voice raw. "I thought if I kept you small, I'd stay big. I was wrong." I shake my head, the pain of her betrayal mingling with the strength I've forged at 29 Palms. "I forgive you," I say, my words cold but deliberate, "but forgiveness doesn't mean you get to define me anymore. I'm not your shadow." I turn to leave, but Natalie grabs my wrist, her touch desperate. Please, Ava, let me fix this. I pull free, my gaze unyielding. You can't fix 23 years of lies. I fixed myself. I walk out, leaving her alone with the forged letter, her empire of manipulation crumbling. The hallway stretches before me, lined with photos of Natalie's triumphs, none of me. But I think of Lucas, his salute, and Jenna Cole's words, "You're their reckoning." This confrontation wasn't about vengeance, it was about claiming my truth. The ocean's distant crash calls me forward, toward a future I'll define, not one shaped by Natalie's cruelty or Richard's silence. I'm ready to face what's next. The Pacific's waves crash 100 feet below Natalie Brooks' Malibu mansion, but I'm no longer trapped in its gilded cage. I'm Ava Reynolds, 35, Major in the U.S. Marine Corps, call sign Silent Vanguard, standing on a desert ridge at 29 Palms, 120 miles from the venom of that dining room. The dawn paints the sky crimson, its heat a stark contrast to the cold lies I left behind. Lucas Brooks' salute, his voice declaring me a hero, shattered Natalie's 23-year deception, her forged letter that branded me a mistake. I've faced her, forgiven her, but walked away, my mother Grace's true words, "You are my heart's fire, burning brighter than her cruelty." The wooden box from my unit, holding a fragment of Grace's jet, rests in my hands, a symbol of the strength I've forged alone. I stride across the base, my boots kicking up dust, and enter a briefing room where young pilots stand at attention. "Major Reynolds," one says, saluting, his eyes bright with respect. "You taught us to see the unseen." I nod, my heart swelling, not for their praise but for the lives I've saved, the legacy I've built beyond Richard's silence or Eleanor's disdain. Jenna Cole's voice echoes in my mind, "You're their reckoning, Ava." I'm no longer the girl Natalie mocked, the child who wept over a lie. I'm the woman who turned pain into power. My journey isn't just mine, it's for anyone who's been erased. You don't need a spotlight to shine. Here's the lesson, your worth isn't in their applause. Every day, take one step, write your victories, face a fear, lift someone else up. That's your fire. I look out at the runway, Lucas by my side, his grin fierce. "You changed everything, Ava," he says. I smile, unburdened. "So can you," I reply. To everyone watching, if you've ever been invisible, share your story below. Use #SilentVanguard. Let's light the world together.